Okay, we're here at the Pool of Bethesda, and I want to just share with you very briefly, okay? This is a real brief study that I want to talk to you about the miracle that happened and why it's important and why it's called that, the name here, and why Jesus made a sign miracle here, even though it's not one of the sign miracles we normally think about. But anyway, here he was at this place. It says, now there was in Jerusalem by the sheep gate a pool, which is called in Hebrew Bethesda, having 5 porches, and if you'll look, you'll see these columns way down below us, having 5 porches, and in these lay a great multitude of sick people, blind, lame, paralyzed, waiting for the moving of the water. Now, I didn't tell you, but this is John chapter 5, okay? It says, for an angel went down at a certain time to the pool and stirred up the water. Then whoever stepped in first after the stirring of the water was made well of whatever disease he had. Now, a certain man was there who had an infirmity 38 years. How many of you are younger than 38 years? Yeah, several of you raising your hands. And so all your life, okay, 38 years this man had been sick. When Jesus saw him lying there and knew that he already had been in that condition a long time, he asked the man, do you want to be made well? Step number 1, if you want to be made well, you've got to want to, okay? You can't, Jesus is not going to force himself on you. And the guy said, of course I do. He says, sir, I have no man to put me into the pool when the water is stirred up. But while I'm coming, another steps down before me. Now, can you imagine that? He'd been in this infirm condition 38 years, and forever how long he'd been laying here, a long time. Every time he would get up to get into the water, somebody would beat him. Somebody would beat him. Somebody would beat him. Somebody would get there before he would. So he was very discouraged, you can imagine. So Jesus said to him, rise, take up your bed and walk. Now that's a great thing because the man immediately was made well. He took up his bed and he walked, right? But here's what John says next. And it was on the Sabbath. Now, how much are you supposed to carry around on the Sabbath? You can't carry your bed around and walk. So the Jews who were there at the time said, the religious leaders said to him, hey, why are you doing this? And he said to them, well, this man who healed me told me to do that. And they said, who is this man? He said, I don't even know who he is. And Jesus saw him later in the temple, and Jesus said, hey, see, you've been healed. Go and sin no more. So Jesus knew that he was telling him to do something that wasn't right according to the religious law. But there's a bigger principle at work, and that is the principle of mercy. Sometimes you have to do things out of mercy and out of grace that might not otherwise be done. Now here's how we know that, and here's why we think that Jesus was doing this as a sign and a symbol of who he is. The name of this place is Bethesda, right? All right, so if you've not taken Hebrew with me yet, or with Dr. Yates, you need to do that because you'll learn about these words. If you take it with me, you're going to have to do a word study, okay? These are a couple of words that you can study with me if you take the Hebrew Tools class. The first word, now just break this word Bethesda down. Okay, the first 3 letters is the what? How do you say that? Bet, okay? Bet. What does that mean in Hebrew? House, okay? So then you divide the T and H. When we say it, we say Bethesda, right? We put the TH together. But in Hebrew, it would be Bethesed, okay? So you got Beth, my tongue and my teeth are all sticking together right now. You say the word bait, and then you say the word Hesed. Now, who knows what the word Hesed means? Anybody know what Hesed means? All right, we got a Hebrew Greek scholar back here. He knows what Hesed means. Reuben knows what Hesed means. Hesed is a Hebrew word that is translated in uses 12 different English words to translate this one Hebrew word. 12 different English words, but primarily it means mercy or loving kindness. And so Jesus chose this place called the house of mercy, the house of loving kindness. And he comes down to this man and he says, take up your bed and walk. So we're standing here at this place of the house of mercy. Isn't that cool? Now see, if you didn't know word studies, if you hadn't done the Hebrew word studies, you just read this as the pool of Bethesda and you miss it. So I'll be taking up signers who want to take my Hebrew word class, right? But we serve a great God who gives us great signs, right? Jesus did some great things, and he showed us that even in the names of these places where he did the miracles. Here is the house of mercy.